welcome. My name is Razzle, and I believe this is the first time that I'm recording my voice on this channel, and I believe it's also the first time that I'm recording a tutorial. So I wanted to make this video for a while, just going over some of the really important key concepts that I believe that every Haxball player should at least have some level of knowledge about. So yeah, if you're a beginner or a novice level Haxball player, this video is targeted towards you. But if you're a more experienced player, it's not to say that all the information here is irrelevant. I think there is some stuff here that is maybe good revision or something new that you might have missed. Knowing all of these things is going to help you learn and improve 10 times quicker than you normally would if that's your goal with Haxball. And I think that's also a very rewarding way to enjoy this game. So without further ado, we're going to dive straight in. Extrapolation is a deep rabbit hole. In short, having the right extrapolation can have the effect of reduced input lag and more responsiveness by synchronizing your player movement with keyboard inputs more closely. To set extrapolation, type the command in the chat bar of any room. This number represents the time in the future, in milliseconds, that your game will render the positions of objects on the screen, the players and the ball. Higher values improve perceived responsiveness, but increase the jitter of yourself and other players. So if you're not sure where to start, try somewhere between 20 and 60. You won't get a good feel for the game and physics if you try to go higher than that. After your first month, feel free to experiment with high extrapolations. For reference, I use 100, and I know plenty of higher tier players who go beyond that, maybe up to 140, and I also know some who play at 10 or 0. It completely depends on preference, which is why you need to gain experience at different amounts to truly understand what works for you. Speaking of experimentation, Haxball gives you the ability to set custom keybinds. If you struggle with spamming, I would suggest binding kick to spacebar or multiple buttons. If you have previous experience using WASD or arrow keys in other games, you should just use those. To improve your player control, you can practice with different extrapolation and keybind configurations in custom race maps or maze maps. These can be fun if you play with a few friends too. Ball control is your ability to move, deceive, and deal with situations with the ball. Having good ball control is the most important skill to have in Haxball. Everything is related to ball control. Let's have a look at some ways you can practice. Stutter step dribbling. Stutter step dribbling has always been highly underrated. Aiming shots and passes and telegraphing your passes to teammates are all done with stutter step dribbling. Turning on the ball is called an orbit. Orbits allow you to pass, shoot, and clear in a wider range of situations than you would normally. Remember to practice both clockwise and anti-clockwise. If you're a goalkeeper or defensive midfielder, getting this skill on lockdown is the best thing you can do for yourself as a beginner. Wall bounces. Wall bounces are the foundation of wall skills and are also highly useful in game alone, in situations where you need to use the wall to increase ball momentum and make space for yourself. There are a couple variations as shown. Try to get consistent across every wall. Whilst you may think that being able to do all of these reliably is enough, you need to repeat them over and over again to drill them into your muscle memory. Make it automatic so you can focus on the game itself. If ball control is the most important skill to have as a player, then the most important skill to have as a team is the ability to pass well. If you practice orbits and stutter steps, passing should be made quite easy. To improve the accuracy of your passes, you can practice in a private room, switching it up between long and short, do one-touch horizontal passes, moving from one end to the other. This training is applicable for 2-on-1 situations and will give you an overall better understanding of kick timing. If you struggle with trapping the ball, practice controlling the ball and passing in private rooms. You may also wish to practice passing back and forth, rebounding off the ball. Back passing training is high yield because it opens up space in possession, whereas missing a back pass is very punishing for your team. In an actual match, you can either focus on making accurate passes or challenge yourself to only make one-touch passes or shots. Doing this will teach you the situations in which one-touch passing is appropriate. You may notice that making quick passes will encourage your teammates to also make more passes to you, creating a positive feedback loop, allowing you to receive the ball more often. One final thing, don't be afraid to reset the play to your keeper. This gives your team time to set up and draw in the opponents to exploit gaps in their press. Positioning becomes more complex the deeper you go into it, but depending on which region you play in, there are certain accepted conventions. Firstly, you will always have a goalkeeper who plays as a backbone pivot and receives loose balls. Do not sit too far back or too far forward as you become a liability to your team. Open play. In 3v3, we have a midfielder and striker playing up front in this 1-2 formation. Depending on situation, it can also become 2-1. The most important part, though, is maintaining a triangle shape to offer the player in possession two options where possible. Man-to-man marking, while the striker presses high, is common for the defending team due to the amount of space available in this format. For 4v4, 1-2-1 diamond is the shape that is most common in offense and defense. If you have an experienced and skillful centre back, this 2-1-1 shape when pressing allows them to receive the ball more often. 2-2 is the most aggressive offensive formation. The centre back rotates wide to offer a pass across goal, with the aim of passing to either front two players positioning wide. This formation demands a high level of passing consistency from the goalkeeper and centre back. Corner offense and defense. In the corner, strikers contest the ball. Unless you see an opportunity to make a body block on the opponent, you should never commit two players into the corner, as it will create a numbers disadvantage for you when the ball spills out. Whenever possible, the striker should have a back pass option from either the midfielder or goalkeeper. As for the defending side, always have the goalkeeper cover front post. The role of the midfielder can vary, but ideally, the defensive midfielder should cover the cross and corner spams. Adding a player each side for the 4v4 corner setup, we no longer need the goalkeeper to commit high up for a back pass option since we have the centre back who can offer support instead. Sitting around or just behind halfway gives you enough time to cover spill balls without giving the counter-attacking striker a clear one-on-one opportunity. In defence, ideally you want a centre back to stand behind the goalkeeper and cover the cross, because a shot can come either from the supporting player or whoever is waiting for the cross. This position gives the goalkeeper space to move, whilst you cover the area of the goal that they cannot reach. For a quick reference guide containing overviews of 3v3 and 4v4 formations, you can refer to this table. A common misconception is maintaining your starting position through the entire match. Look for when you can rotate to fill gaps in your team's formation. To start with, it can get overwhelming, so here are some common examples to get you started. In this first clip, the goalkeeper has no way to pass forward. Recognizing this, the midfielder rotates back to provide a supporting option, effectively swapping the midfielder and goalkeeper positions. Recognizing that an intercept could be trouble, the midfielder briefly pauses to stay in the goalkeeper's position. Once the ball is safely in the corner, he rotates back to his standard position to wait for a cross. Now the striker, recognizing that a ball is not coming to the bottom side, rotates into the space available up top. Although this breaks the conventional 1-2 formation, this is a great example of utilizing the space on the fly. In this next clip, we see yet another example of rotating to cover the goalkeeper. In this case, the goalkeeper is closer to the ball and contests the corner, allowing the original goalkeeper to rotate back into their position and cover the front post. The bottom line is to rotate into space and use triangles to create passing lanes in order to break down weaknesses in the opponent's formation. Even when you're not on the ball, there are ways you can still contribute to helping maintain possession or to receive the ball more often. As mentioned earlier, you should be trying to identify any weaknesses in both the opponent's defense and your own defense. For example, does your striker have a back pass option? Give them support. Is their goalkeeper pushed too high? Move into space for a fast break down the line. Is your goalkeeper pushed too high? Then you can rotate back to cover them. Look for where the space is. There will always be somewhere you can rotate into that will benefit your team, even if you are not the direct passing target. Think about where you should be to receive the second pass, or rush through the middle if there is a gap. Use body blocking to create space for your teammates to make a clearance or receive passes. Body blocking takes practice, but being an effective body blocker can frustrate your opponents and cause them to overcommit. There are some skills you can't learn from just playing games. You will need to practice them on your own in order to become consistent at them. Absorbing. Absorbing is putting your body behind the ball and waiting for the opponent to kick. Use this technique to buy your team time to set up defensively or to try win a 50-50 battle against a spammy opponent. Wall-to-wall movement. Wall-to-wall is an extension on wall bounces from earlier. Here, you're practicing your ability to make horizontal passes and to carry momentum of the ball. This is also just a generally great skill to learn for ball control. Using the double kick to shoot is very flashy, but unless you practice it a lot, it's quite a situational skill that's not really worth learning early. However, being able to double kick parallel to the wall, flat like this, is both easier and more useful. You can use it for clearances, passes down the line, and it's the most fundamental tool for corner battles to be able to find a cross. A lot of goalkeepers also use double kicks on the back wall to escape corners and beat the press. When I mention mindset, I refer to two different ways of thinking: playing for the win or playing for experimentation. During experimentation, you're trying different things to observe what works better or what doesn't work very well, accepting the little mistakes that come. This is what you call a growth mindset. When the time comes, the experimentation will have improved your ability to play for the win. Some final tips. When you're focused on learning during a game, restrict it to one thing at a time. Passes, positioning, whatever it is, it needs to be something you're constantly keeping track of throughout. And the final, most important thing is, don't waste time focusing on the mistakes of your teammates. We are all guilty of this, but 9 scenarios out of every 10, there is something you could have done yourself. And with that, we come to the conclusion of the Haxball Fundamentals series. Thank you so much for watching. I'll probably see you again sometime soon, as I have some coaching videos and more in-depth explanations in a different sort of format of the topics that we've discussed in today's video. But until then, see you soon.